It's funny how in life, in my diplomatic career, sometimes a small event can have amazing consequences and have impacts on the future course of your life in ways you might never ever have imagined. In 1990, after being in the Philippines for 3 years, my tour would normally be up, but it's also possible to stay for another year. My oldest son had just finished middle school, really liked the school, he was doing well, he'd be starting high school there. My other children were doing well in school. We had a lovely home, it was nice for my wife. So even though there were people trying to kill me, life in the Philippines in many other respects was nice and rewarding, and particularly for all my family members. And so as it was time to submit my request to extend one more year, to stay one more year, and I was prepared to do that, two things happened. Number one, I was out on a Cub Scout hike at the big U.S. Clark Air Force Base. They have all these forests, and the Cub Scouts would go up there, and I went, and the father-son deal was you go out with your son, you pitch the tent and everything. So I've got my bodyguards with me, and they want to pitch the tent for me, and I said, no, I'm the dad, I have to do this. And so I've got the tent pitched. He and I are sleeping in there. There's all sorts of other Cub Scouts with their fathers in their tents nearby. But security guys, and there's U.S. Air Force security people there as well. And then kind of about 1 in the morning, somebody, I guess you can't quite knock on a tent, a canvas tent, but makes noise and calls me and said, there's a secure call for you. We have to take you to a secure place where you can have a classified conversation. So this isn't totally unexpected. There's always something going on, some danger, some crisis, maybe another terrorist attack. So I get up and pull on my shirt, put on my glasses. I go with them. They drive me to a building inside where there's a room with secure phones. I pick it up, and it's Assistant Secretary Richard Solomon in Washington, D.C. at the State Department. He's the senior-most officer who guides the East Asia and Pacific Bureau that handles and supervises the embassy in Manila. And I knew Ambassador Solomon from our work together at the National Security Council when Gerald Ford was president. He worked on China, I worked on Indochina, on Vietnam, Cambodia. And he said, Ken, it's Dick Solomon. I need you to come back to Washington and become Deputy Assistant Secretary covering all of Indochina, Southeast Asia. There's going to be a lot happening. I'm in this position. I really need you. So I said, wow, Dick, that's very nice. I'm flattered. I need to think about this, but I have to tell you, my family's in a good place here. We like the work. We love where we are. My kids are happy in school. To be honest, I'm pretty hesitant about doing this. And he said, well, I really need you to do this. Think hard about it. So I think hard about it, talk to my wife, and really think, it's nice here, happy here. I think I can be protected from the terrorist threats. We've learned to deal with this, and I think we should just stay. It's one more great year for our kids in this school, and you have all this wonderful help in our house, and it's a beautiful house that we're in. We just love the house. Residence with trees and a swimming pool, and a wonderful neighborhood. Gosh, it was a dream. And so then Ambassador Solomon calls again, and he's sort of, we really need you, you know, I really need you. And I said, you know, Dick, I've been thinking about this. You know, I think for my family, well, it sounds like a great job for my family. I don't think I can do this. Oh, you know, I don't want to be forcing you. I don't want to get orders, but I really, really need you. You're the guy for this job. And I said, oh, you know, I hope you won't do that, force me to come back, because they can give orders, and I have no choice then. And he said, think about it one more time. So I said, okay, okay. But I was pretty determined to tell him no. And then the landlord who owns our house sends a message saying, I have plans for the house. I need to take it back. Here's your 30 days notice. You need to move out. I'm going to redo it, probably tear it half down. And suddenly, this house, which was kind of the nicest place we've ever lived in, is going to be gone. And we're going to be out on the market looking around for houses. So my wife and I go out and look at a few, and you know, they'd been fine, they'd been very adequate, nice enough, but nothing compared to what we had been living in. And suddenly staying that extra year maybe didn't make so much sense. We looked into high school, and there was a high school in Northern Virginia, Thomas Jefferson, which was a science magnet school. Our oldest boy could apply for it, probably get into it, but only if he came that year. And so all of a sudden, that message from the landlord, that small thing about taking the house back, and we tried to convince him not to, but he was set in his ways, nothing legally that could be done. And we made the decision, made the choice. We were going to pick up, move back to Washington, D.C. I'd be taking this job in the East Asia Bureau, overseeing all of Vietnam, Cambodia, all of Southeast Asia. In the end, if I hadn't taken that job, I would never have been ambassador, wouldn't have been ambassador to Cambodia, probably ambassador anywhere, and likely my career would have played out, and I don't know that I would have ended up at the World Food Prize in the job that I had. All of those things linked back to that call from the landlord. So you never know when a small conversation, a small event will change the course and direction of where you're going, and will end up having a very profound effect on years and years of your career.